Did I just get fatter over the summer and lose more hair? Probably. Let's talk about Lions football.
Elbow, forearm, he's going to be down.
The result of the play is a touchdown.
And then the flag that was thrown on this was picked up.
I don't know, did it get the face mask?
So by rule, the game is over.
The Lions Hangover.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode, a brand new episode, the start of the 2023 season of the Lions Hangover podcast. I am your glamorous host, Brad. This is a special episode. This is the first episode of the season. This is where we talk about season predictions. This is what I think the Lions will do this season. And of course, as we all know, with super accuracy, I was only off by one game last year. I believe I said the Lions would go 11-6, and no. I said the Lions would go 10-7, and they ended up going 9-8. Of course, this year, let's talk about each game on the schedule, and I'll let you know what I think the Lions are going to do, how they're going to finish, and will they make the playoffs or not. Of course, I don't think there's going to be any real surprises. Before we get started, of course, you can always find me on the social medias. I'm on Instagram at the Lions Hangover Podcast, and of course, Twitter, the Lions Hangover Podcast, and as always, on Facebook as well. I'm not on Threads yet. I might be on Threads. I don't know. I'll have to check Threads out. Is that thing going to last or not? Anyway, as you can see, I've got a new ring light, lighting me up. It gives me funny eyeballs. You can see the reflection. I will try not to look like this into the light so it doesn't get hypnotic. I'll try to stay down like that. That way you guys won't be distracted by my light bulbs, my googly eyes. Right? Isn't that awesome? Okay. So first up, the Lions, I got this one right in the wire. This is Wednesday night as I'm recording right now, and the Lions play tomorrow night in Kansas City. Week 1, Super Bowl champs, Kansas City. Now, of course, they're coming off of the Super Bowl win. They are going to be without offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. He's gone now. Where'd he go? I think he went to Philadelphia. No, Washington. He went to Washington. In comes new offensive coordinator Matt Nagy, who was there before, I think, in 2016. Matt Nagy was previously the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and he was also previously the quarterback coach of Kansas City. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a change as far as the offense goes. In Kansas City, Nagy was 34-31 as the Bears head coach, which is actually kind of surprising because I just always remember the Bears sucking probably as much as the Lions have a history of sucking. The Bears have had a history of sucking. Now we know defensive lineman Chris Jones, he is a contract holdout, and Kelsey tweaked his knee in practice, so he is going to be questionable. It's sounding like he's not going to be playing. Chris Jones is definitely not going to be playing. That's going to be a huge loss for the defensive line of Kansas City. Now, the Lions are going to be coming in, and of course, as always, the Lions' success is going to depend on Jared Goff and how Jared Goff plays. Now, the Lions traditionally get off to a slow start so far under Dan Campbell. I am not expecting that. That was too much momentum at the second half of last season, so I think the Lions are going to come out blazing. They've upgraded their offense. They've upgraded their defense. Are they going to be able to stop the run? This is my argument. The Lions could always stop the run. The thing they can't stop is a running quarterback. So running backs don't scare me, so I'm not worried about Pacheco of Kansas City. I am worried about Patrick Mahomes, who is, I'm not going to say overrated, but I've seen him play, and he always has things work out for him. I think he's a tremendously lucky quarterback. Fundamentally, I don't think he's a great quarterback, but he makes plays. He's a playmaker. He is currently, without Tom Brady, he's the greatest of all time right now in the league. He's the current active GOAT. That's my opinion. And if you stack his statistics up side by side with Tom Brady, I believe he's coming out ahead so far. So if he can stay healthy and Andy Reid can stay the coach in Kansas City, he might be the next all-time GOAT. So, and of course, I love saying GOAT. Everybody loves saying GOAT. So Patrick Mahomes, he's the best there is, but I don't get it. So Kelsey's out. That's going to be a huge hit to them. But as I was getting to the Lions upgraded their running game. They have Jahmyr Gibbs. They drafted him. They have David Montgomery. They signed him. Of course, they're going to be without Jameson Williams. But in comes Marvin Jones Jr. And of course, we always have Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think the Lions' offense is going to be stellar. I think the defense is going to be greatly improved. No Isaiah Buggs, and some people are upset about that, but I think that just means that you're improving, right? If you're sitting out somebody like Isaiah Buggs, that means that somebody else is taking his spot, and he got outplayed. So that's an upgrade right there. So Broderick Martin is going to be in the middle. You got Aiden Hutchinson on the ends. You got Jack Campbell as a new linebacker. Alex Anzalone, who's going to be looking to build off of his success last season. You're going to have players like Zach Pascal, who is going to be looking to make more of an impact this season. The defensive backfield is completely overhauled. We signed, 3 new guys, and we drafted Brian Branch. Emmanuel Mosley is not going to be playing, but I don't think that is going to be hurting us tomorrow. Now, with all of that said, I'm not sure the Lions are going to win. I think they could win, and if there's a time to play the Kansas City Chiefs, it's probably week 1 when everybody is at their healthiest. You could also argue the best time to play the Chiefs is week 17 when both teams know who they are and they are gelling probably at peak performance with each other too as a team. The team chemistry will be fully bonded by the end of the season. So good and bad. I love that they're playing the Chiefs. I love that they're starting off on Thursday Night Football. They're the first football game of the season. I love it. But you can't overlook what the Chiefs can do. Mahomes is a playmaker. He can scramble. This is the Lions' Achilles heel. If there's no wide receiver open, no tight end open, Pachenko's not going anywhere, Mahomes is going to find a way to make things happen. So I think the Lions can cover the spread, but I'm going to say they're probably going to lose in week 1, and that's no surprise. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I think the Lions can win. I just don't think the Lions will win. This is a big ask of week 1. It's a big opponent, but you never know. You might catch Kansas City sleeping. Now, week 2, the Lions' first home game of the season is against the Seattle Seahawks, which the Lions lost to last year in a heartbreaker, and it ended up being the critical game of the season because we didn't have the tiebreaker against Seattle. Now, Seattle is led by 71-year-old Pete Carroll, who is 161, 112, and 1 with his record. And of course, they drafted with their 5th pick of the season, Devin Witherspoon, who we all wanted with our draft pick. And I think we were going to draft him if he was available. He's a defensive back, of course. He's kind of coming off of a hamstring injury, but I believe he's going to be ready to go, especially by week 2. Now, Geno Smith got a huge contract in the offseason. Is he going to have the same kind of success as he had last season? It was a bit of a shootout, but that was before the Lions defense. This is last year, of course. This is before the Lions defense was truly gelling. And, of course, the Seahawks have Kenneth Walker, who had a fantastic, I don't want to say second half, but last 10 games of the season. He had a pretty solid and pretty solid rookie campaign on the offense. Despite all of this, I think the Lions are just going to continue to build, continue to have that momentum going their way. I think the Lions are going to win, so they will start the season off at 1-1. Now, coming up on week 3, we play the Atlanta Falcons, who drafted running back phenom Bijan Robinson. A lot of people say that he is the best running back, that he's a generational running back. I've heard that thrown out over and over. But I have to say, the more I hear about Jahmyr Gibbs, we all questioned Jahmyr Gibbs' pick. Like, we were all wondering what the hell the Lions were doing with that first pick. But the more I learned about Jahmyr Gibbs, I would not be surprised if Jahmyr Gibbs ends up winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year, which means he's going to be better than Bijan Robinson. The thing is, Bijan Robinson is also favored to lead the NFL in rushing in his first season. Now, that might be true. I'm not sure that Jahmyr Gibbs is going to have more rushing yards than Bijan Robinson, but I do believe he is going to have more receiving yards. I think overall, Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be a well-rounded offensive weapon, both catching and running the ball. But the thing is, Desmond Ridder is the quarterback of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not completely sold on him. I would prefer backup quarterback Taylor Heineke, who, of course, came from Washington. With all that said, I think the Lions are going to get the dub on this one, so they're going to start the season off at 2-1. Now, week 4, the Lions have their first divisional opponent matchup, and, of course, that is going to be against Green Bay in Green Bay. And it is on Thursday Night Football, their second Thursday night game of the season. Jordan Love, we will know answers by the time we play him week 4. We will know if he can play or not. I have my questions about him. I'm not completely sold. Of course, the Packers do have a solid defense, but they did lose some offensive weapons to the Jets, not just Aaron Rodgers, who I'm not afraid of. But they also lost Lazard and Cobb, which was kind of weird. They weren't their strongest weapons, but Lazard might have been, he's a solid wide receiver. And, of course, Cobb is a reliable veteran. But like I said, they went to the Jets. I see the Lions sweeping the Packers this year. I see no reason why the Lions can't sweep the Packers. I think overall the Lions will go 5-1 in the division again this year like they did last year. The Lions are going to get the W. So the Lions are going to start 3-1. This is just predictions. So week 5, they get the Carolina Panthers, who they lost to in Carolina last season. We all remember that field and how the players complained about it. I would say this is going to be an easy win. However, I like Frank Reich as a head coach. I like Bryce Young as a playmaking quarterback. He is on the shorter side. We all know that. But I think he's a solid, talented player, and we need to be careful. They also snagged Adam Thielen from the Minnesota Vikings. They also signed DJ Chark, who we all loved last season. Andy Dalton is the backup, who is a reliable, solid backup to Bryce Young. And Miles Sanders came over from Philadelphia as the running back and Deuce Staley as the running back coach. I think Carolina has a lot going for them. I think this will be close and not as much of a revenge game as I would hope for. I would hope that the Lions can stomp these guys, but I think Carolina is going to come in with some fire, and I think it's going to be a close one. However, I'm going to benefit the Lions. They are playing in Detroit. I can't wait to see it. I think Detroit is going to be a really tough place to play this year, and I think the Lions will get their 4th win of the season, going in as 4-1. Now, week 6, the Lions are up against Tampa Bay, the Buccaneers, and Baker Mayfield as the starting quarterback. At this moment, he has the starting quarterback job. There's not a whole lot I can say about Tampa Bay. I feel like they're kind of this year's dumpster fire. I hate to say it. I like Baker Mayfield. I was hoping that he would do more last year. He did not. Even when he went to LA, I was kind of hoping he would make a little bit more of an impact, especially when they played against the Seahawks at the end of the season to get us into the playoffs. That, of course, did not work out. However, I do like him. I do think he's talented, and I think under the right circumstances, he can thrive. I'm not sure Tampa Bay is the right circumstance. They do have Mike Evans and, of course, Chris Godwin. It sounds like Mike Evans has sorted out his issues with Tampa Bay. They've got an agreeable contract on the table is what I've heard. This is, of course, as of Wednesday night. But that's not going to be enough. And they're going to be in Tampa Bay. I don't think that's going to be enough. I see the Lions getting this win. I think Tampa Bay is going to be at the bottom of the NFC South along with Atlanta. So the Lions will get their 5th win of the season in Tampa Bay. All right, this one is going to be controversial. The Lions are going to Baltimore week 7. This, of course, is going to be the return of Jameson Williams. The Ravens were able to finally sign Lamar Jackson, and he was able to bring in Odell Beckham Jr. Is he going to be able to stay healthy the whole season? Who knows? And, of course, we know the last time the Lions played the Ravens, they lost on that crazy Justin Tucker 66-yard field goal. So they have some weapons. However, every time I can think of that the Lions have played Baltimore with Lamar Jackson, it's been close. It has not been a blowout. And Lamar Jackson, I think, is overrated. I think he's had some great years, but as a player, I think he's not enough to scare me, and I am not afraid of Baltimore. I think the Lions have improved more with week 7. I think the chemistry is going to be going. I think they'll be running on all 8 cylinders at that time. I think the Lions can pull out a crazy victory in Baltimore, and I feel like this might be a blowout. This might be the surprise blowout of the season. I don't see this one being too close. I am saying it. This is my controversial one. I'm sure you guys will be like, Brad, you're crazy on this one. I might be. I might be crazy, but that does not mean that I am wrong. So the Lions get their 6th win of the season against the Baltimore Ravens. Now, here comes week number 8. The Lions get their first Monday Night Football game in a few years, I think. And the Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, of course, are led by Jimmy Garoppolo and Davante Adams, who may or may not be there at that time of the year because there's lots of trade rumors about him. And, of course, they have Josh Jacobs, the running back. Josh McDaniel is the coach, though, and I think he is the problem. He is 17-28 as the coach, and there are also trade rumors and some Chandler Jones drama as well. The trade rumors of Davante Adams, and possibly Josh Jacobs too. I think the Lions are going to get the win. I don't like Josh McDaniel as a coach. I like Jimmy G. I think he's a good quarterback. I think all he does is win and get injured. So if he can stay healthy, I think that's where it'll be close. But if he's not healthy, it'll be a blowout victory. I like Josh Jacobs, but I think he's having some inner turmoil as well. There is definitely some animosity in the league from the running backs. So he's either going to have a great year or a really bad year. Either way, though, it's going to be Monday Night Football. I think the Lions are going to be stoked. Again, this is where the offense is going to be in high gear. I think the defense is going to know who they are. Josh Jacobs is a running back that I feel, even though I feel like the Lions are going to stop most running backs, not running quarterbacks, but most running backs, I think the Lions will be able to stop. I don't think Josh Jacobs is going to be one of them. I would say he's likely to get over 100 yards in that game. But the Lions will win. And that'll be their 7th win of the season going into the Week 9 bye. Lions have a bye week, Week 9. They're doing great so far, right? Almost halfway through the season. 7 wins. Looking good. Looking good. Okay. I feel like the second half of the season is going to be a little bit tougher for the Lions than the first half, even though the Lions will be a better team offensively and defensively by the second half of the season. So, Lions, Week 10, they go to L.A. to play the Chargers. Justin Herbert, who is 25-25 as a starting quarterback. The dude can still throw for like 300, 400 yards a game. Be very careful of him. Austin Eckler, who is a solid running back. Not afraid of him, though, but he is a solid running back. And Keenan Allen, he's a solid wide receiver. And they have Khalil Mack on defense. He's a solid linebacker as well. I think the Chargers are a playoff team in the AFC, and the AFC is stacked, so it's very hard to make the playoffs in the AFC, and I think the Chargers can do it. I think they are often a dark horse to win the Super Bowl, or at least make it to the Super Bowl. Is this going to be the year? Who knows? Some people don't like their coach just because he can't get them over the hump, but I think they're usually a player away or two from getting over that hump. I don't think the Lions are going to be able to do it coming off the bye week. I think they're going to be a little bit sluggish going to LA with the time difference. I think this one is going to be a loss. So the Lions will be 7-2 heading into week 11, playing the Bears. Now, this game is going to be at home. And of course, the Bears have made huge changes to their offense, huge changes to their defense. Is it going to be enough? We don't even know if their coach can coach. Eberflus, we don't know. I'm not sold on Justin Fields. I think he's a fantastic athlete. I think he's a horrible quarterback, but I think he's got the arm. I think he can make huge throws. It's his decision-making. It's everything else. I think he's careless with the football. I think he thinks he needs to put the team on his shoulders, and maybe he needed to do that last year, but it did not work out. They were the worst team in the NFL last year. I do think they make good improvements this year. Of course, they got Penei Sewell's brother, Noah Sewell, on defense, and he's a promising linebacker as well. And they signed Deontay Foreman and Khalil Herbert, of course, who they retain because they gave up David Montgomery in free agency. And they're sad to see David Montgomery go. Cole Kmet is a solid tight end. But, man, this DJ Moore is a wide receiver. It's going to depend if Fields can get him the ball. But this game is going to be in Detroit, and I think that's where this game needs to be. I think the Lions get this win, their 8th win of the season, against the Bears, Week 11. Now, they have a short week because Week 12 is against the Packers on Thanksgiving. Everybody loves a Thanksgiving game. Packers rivalry. But I've already said it. I think the Lions are going to sweep the Packers this season, so this is going to be a win number 9, which helps them because now they get the extra days off because it's a Thursday game, the 3rd Thursday game of the season. I guess that first one doesn't count because the rest of the teams aren't going to have to play more than 2 in the season. Moving right along, yo. Okay, Week 13, the Lions travel to New Orleans, and they play the Saints, who now has Derek Carr, who's looking to revive his career as quarterback since he got out of Las Vegas. They will, of course, have Alvin, you know, the Chipmunks, Alvin Chipmunk Kamara, and Jamal Williams, who, of course, was here last year. However, I don't think Jamal Williams is going to have the success that he had here. He had situational success here. I like Jamal Williams. I don't necessarily like how he left us. Either way, it'll be nice to see him and his weirdness. He's a cool dude, but I don't think he's a threat. I think Kamara is a threat. And, of course, they have Chris Olave, who is a fantastic wide receiver. Mike Thomas is, as long as he can stay healthy, he is a solid weapon. They did go 7-10 last year, and I believe the Saints will come out first in the NFC South over Carolina. I think it's going to be a race between those two teams in the NFC South. I think the Saints will have the upper hand this year. Next year, I'm not so solid. I think the Panthers, if I was a betting man, I would bet that the Panthers will win the division next season. So this game, Week 13 against the Lions, I think the Lions will lose. I don't see the Lions pulling this one out, but this is a game that they can win. It could go either way. I am benefiting the Saints just because they are in New Orleans. Now, let's move up to Week 14, the Bears in Chicago. Now, for all of the reasons that I would predict the Lions to win in Detroit against the Bears, I think the Bears will get this victory. And it's not because the Bears are a better team. I just feel like this is a game that's going to get away from the Lions. It doesn't mean nothing. Bears fans will probably lose their balls over this. Oh my God, Justin Fields is such a god. Get over it, Bears. You're annoying. Justin Fields is not that good yet. You do get a win. You've made improvements. I'm willing to give you a win. but you are not kings of the North. This division belongs to the Lions this year until I see it from somebody else. I see no reason why the Lions are not going to run away with this thing. I think the Bears could get 8 or 9 victories this year, but the Lions are still going to be 2 or 3 wins ahead of them. I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Lions could have it legit wrapped up as far as the division goes by week 15, week 16. I think we will know that the Lions are the division winners. I'm just saying, maybe that's a bold statement for the day, but I don't see it working out any other way. Okay, so now week 15. TBD against the Broncos. We don't exactly know the day or the time. It is scheduled for a Sunday right now, but the time is yet to be determined. I think if the Lions are winning, if the Broncos are winning, this game is primed for another primetime game. And the Lions already have like 5 primetimes, but they have up to 7, potentially 7 primetime games, potentially. And this could be one of those potentials because it is TBD. They're letting us know right now that this game could be flexed. Of course, the Broncos now have head coach Sean Payton. He makes his return when he hopes to revive Russell Wilson's career. And, of course, they have Jerry Jeudy for wide receiver. I like him, but is this enough? I'm not sold on Russell Wilson. I don't think he has the same team that he had when he had all that success in Seattle. Plus, this game is in Detroit. I think it's going to mean a lot to Dan Campbell to beat his mentor. The student now becomes the master. I see the Lions getting this win. So this will be the 10th win of the season for the Lions in week 15. Where am I at right now? They got like 3 losses, 5 losses maybe. I'm not sure. Okay. Week 16 at Minnesota. And Minnesota is a team that I feel like got worse than they did get better. They lost a lot of players over the offseason, including Adam Thielen and Dalvin Cook. They've got a lot of salary cap troubles, but you wouldn't know it because they just re-signed T.J. Hockenson to a monstrous deal, making him the highest paid tight end ever, which I don't agree with, but it's not my team, so I don't really care. I feel like they're probably excited about it. Now, of course, they still have Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in the game right now. It's between him, Tyreek Hill, and I don't know, Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. All of those guys are pretty solid. But they also have Kirk Cousins as their quarterback, who is an above mediocre quarterback who somehow statistically enjoys lots of success. But I don't think he's any good. And like I said, and they also lost, what's his name on defense? I know they lost a few players on defense, but one of them was like a key guy. I can't think of who it is. Anyway, as I was saying, the Vikings have gotten worse this offseason as everybody else has gotten better. And they were, of course, frauds last year, and they were severely exposed. I mean, the Lions should have had 2 wins against them. They led both games except for 45 seconds of that first game at the very end when it mattered most. The Vikings are going to finish last in this division. That's my opinion. How close is it going to be? I'm not sure, but I don't think they are going to be doing anything this season, and I think they're going to be struggling and looking for a new coach next year. Pew, pew. Said that. So the Lions will get their 11th win of the season. You with me so far? 11. Yeah. I believe they're 11-4 right now, to my count. So week 17, they travel to Dallas, and I feel like the amount of times we go play Dallas in Dallas, it severely outnumbers the times that Dallas has come to Detroit to play. I don't know why we always end up going to Dallas. It seems weird to me, but that's the way it goes. And I think the Lions, without Barry Sanders, those days, I think the Lions struggle in Dallas. Of course, Dallas has Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott and Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Michael Gallup. They probably have the best all-around trio of wide receivers. That's just my thought, and I think that leads a lot to Dak Prescott's success. And Tony Pollard pretty much took the job from Ezekiel Elliott, or Ezekiel Elliott just lost his job. Either way, I think the Cowboys are going to be too much for the Lions. who the Cowboys are arguably the third best team in the NFC. And the Lions will get their 5th loss of the season. And as far as the NFC goes, it's like Philadelphia, right below them is San Francisco, and a little bit of a gap, there's Dallas, and then right behind Dallas is Detroit. A little bit of a gap, bigger gap. The biggest gap is New Orleans is team number 5. And then we'll say Carolina 6, Giants 7, right? Does that sound right with everybody? Any complaints so far? Okay. That's just my opinion. Of course, the Giants, Carolina, they could be flip-flop. Doesn't really matter because they're going to be at the bottom of the middle, or the top of the middle, however you want to look at it. They're the middle. Regardless, Lions lose against Dallas. Now, Week 18, another TBD. This is where it could be the Lions' 7th primetime game of the season. It's toothpaste. 7th primetime game of the season. The Lions play the Vikings. Lions will sweep the Vikings. There's no doubt in my mind, especially with it being the last game of the season. The only way the Lions don't win this game is if they have everything wrapped up and they don't have anything to play for, and they are going to be benching their starters. And even then, I feel like the Lions could win. Like I said, Vikings are going to be at the bottom of the NFC North. It is going to be very hard for them to get wins this season. Excuse me, a little bit of gas. I don't see anything that I would be afraid of from Minnesota. So if you've been keeping track, that means the Lions will finish the season, the 2023 season, at 12-5. Now, there are a couple games that could go either way. So if you want to play pretend and you don't think 12-5 is accurate, I believe the worst the Lions will do this season is 10-7. 10 wins, 7 losses. And I still feel like that's going to be good enough to win the NFC North. And the Lions will have a home playoff game. And I hope you guys will all be there because I will be there. Now, if the what-if games all go the way of the Lions, the best the Lions can do this season is 13-4. That's how I see it. You know, and you'd be like, well, no, Brad, the best Lions could do is 17-0. Stop it. Nobody goes 17-0 unless you're the Patriots of like 2010 or whatever it was, or the 72 Dolphins, right? It's very hard to go undefeated. So the best they will do is 13-4. The worst they will do is 10-7. I am predicting they will go 12-5. And remember, this is bragging rights for me. I was only off by 1 game last year. So not too bad. As long as Goff, I don't even have to say if Goff can stay healthy, because I believe Teddy Bridgewater could be just as good as Goff. I don't think it's that much of a drop-off, especially with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is the key here. So if Goff can stay healthy and play like he did last year, this offense is going to be even better. And even if Teddy Bridgewater has to stand in, I think we will be okay. We will be able to get a few wins out of him. Jahmyr Gibbs, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I said it. Aiden Hutchinson, Defensive Player of the Year. I am saying it. Defensive Player of the Year. Don't look for him to have 3 interceptions again, though. That's kind of a big ask. That's pretty crazy. Outside chance Brian Branch can win Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he can be in the running. If Sauce Gardner won it last year, I think Brian Branch could win it this year. I think it's very plausible. Very plausible. I don't think he's favorited like Jahmyr Gibbs is to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think it's very plausible. I know some people are saying Bijan Robinson. Of course, they like to favor quarterback C.J. Stroud in Houston or Bryce Young in Carolina. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs is going to make a run for it as far as Offensive Rookie of the Year. I think that's it. That's all 18 weeks. I'll have another episode, a post-game episode. The first actual episode of the Lions Hangover is tomorrow. This is, of course, the preseason prediction special. So thanks for joining me. If you liked what you saw, please rate and subscribe and follow along. I am, of course, on YouTube, and there are also audio-only versions. You can catch me on Spotify. I'm always on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So thanks again. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Googly eyes one last time. Hopefully that wasn't too distracting. And I will talk to you guys soon.